Hello all you beautiful people, welcome back to the channel, and if you are new here, welcome to the Planner fam. I hope you will hit that subscribe button and stick around for a little while. Today we are working on my 2022 reading journal, so stick around. I have been seeing so many of these reading journals on my feed on YouTube here, and I love it. I am a huge reader, what I consider a big reader. I love to read. I read often. By the end of the year, I hope to be starting a podcast with my son where we're going to be talking about movies, video games, and books, all things in geek culture and, the comparison between them. And so I thought it would be great to start tracking my reading and making notes on books that I'm reading. Eventually, I hope to do books as well as movies and television shows to be able to compare the different media. And so for right now, I thought I would start out doing my reading journal, and I'm going with the theme of Alice in Wonderland because it's one of my favorite books. I wanted to start with that. I wanted to do that style. And so here we are doing an Alice in Wonderland layout. I've watched so many different videos. I've done a ton of research on Pinterest and on Instagram to sort of see what the different layouts are, the different things that go into a reading journal, the different things that are tracked, how they're tracked, and it was weeks of trying to figure out exactly what trackers I wanted to try. So as we're going through, I'm going to section out each different layout. So if there is a specific section you're looking for, it'll be marked on the bottom of the screen on your timeline, as well as in the timestamp in the description box below. So as I'm going through and working on a section like intro, title page, index, just the different parts that I'm focusing on in my bullet journal, I'll be talking about them, but they'll be sectioned out so you can just skip to whatever timestamp you're interested in. If you want to watch the whole video, great. I don't know how long this is going to be because it's about 6 hours of filming, not to mention the weeks of planning and sketching before I started inking it in on film. So yeah, it's yes. So feel free to skip to whatever parts you want. If you want to come back and look at anything, you'll be able to find exactly what sections you were looking at. So I tried to make this as easy to consume as possible, and I hope you guys enjoy. This front cover space, I just sort of wanted to do a collage of a bunch of themes within this story. So we have our little white rabbit, we have Alice, we've got the books, the keys, the mushroom, the magic potion, there's the teapot. So just a bunch of little things and kind of sticking with the black and red of the suits on cards. So this is when you first open it up, this is the opening cover, and I have my name. And then we go into the title page, and here again I'm going with the black and white with a quote from the Mad Hatter. We're all quite mad here. You'll fit right in. And then the 2022. Now my penmanship is not great, so I penciled this out first, and then the little keyhole, because when she first falls down the rabbit hole, she has that door that she can't open, and so having that door plate right there. Linked in the description box below, I'll list an Amazon link for my pens, the scrapbooking paper, so that if there's anything here you're actually wanting to get for yourself, or if you're curious what I'm using, I'll link those down in the description box below in case you need those resources. So after my title page, I then have my journal index, and again I'm using the suits from the cards as sort of bookends to each of my titles, and then I'm using sort of the rounded edges and almost like a playing card for each of the boxes that I use in this journal. So this is simply going to be where I write down all the different things in the book, like the different pages, so it's an index. So it's easier for me to find the different sections in my journal. Then we have the bookshelf. This took me days to sketch out. There are exactly 120 books on this shelf. and I'm giving myself the hard target of read 30 books, which is just over 2 books a month, which, considering I've already read like 8 books this year, I think that's going to easily get met. Next target of 60 books for the year. Again, that shouldn't be too difficult. On my goals page, I set up 90 with room to do 120. So I have it sort of mapped out in my brain that those are my markers to get to 30, 60, 90, and that's my ambitious goal. And then I have a little more room to go up to 120. And I just wanted to make sure, like, that's a crazy amount of books for me to read. So the odds of me getting to 120 is not high, but I wanted to give myself the room for that, seeing as I am putting my attention more towards trying to read a lot this year. So that's where I put my goal at. I also put in a few little things from Alice in Wonderland. Like, we have our little teacup and teapot. We have the clock because time is a theme, the being late and then size. So the clock is there, and then the hourglass also, that passage of time. And then we've got a little plate of cookies, one that says eat me, and we've got a little potion here that says drink me, and just a few little things. And again, we have the heart and the spades next to the bookshelf. Then the page after that is my books read. So on the bookshelf, as I read a book, I'm going to color it in, and then I'm going to mark a number on the spine. I don't want to ruin this page by having a whole bunch of text everywhere crammed into these tiny little book spines. So what I'm going to do is number the books once I've read it, and then on the following page, I'm going to have, this is my books read. So on here, I'm going to track the number that correlates with the previous page, the book number. So what book it is for the year, 1 through 120, and then the title and author here, and then the ranking. So whatever my ranking is of that book, of how many stars it is going to go in that last category. There are 4 of these pages, and again, there are 30 per page. So my first box is going to be my first goal of reaching 30. Next page is 60, and then 90, and then to 120 if I get to that. And so there is my books read page. And again, the second page is the same, so I cut out the footage for that because there's a lot of footage here. Then this is my favorite books of 2022. So it's like my top 10 picks. As I'm going through each month, I'm going to sort of have a favorite of that month that I'll highlight on that each month page. And then at the end of the year, as I'm going through, I'm going to sort of rank those books. And then at the end of the year, have my top 10. And I wanted to do these playing cards because, again, that's a big theme in Alice in Wonderland, is like the deck of cards and the Queen of Hearts. And so at the end of the year, in the center of each of these cards, I will print off the cover pages of my top 10, and I'll stick them here. And this will be my gallery for 2022. Then this is my reading challenge page, and again, I'm putting in, I have drawn out 90 squares, but I'm inking in 60, and I have room on the second page. I made sure that I have room on the second page to go all the way up to 120. So I'm not expecting to get to 120. I'm hoping to get to 60, but expecting I'll probably get closer to 90 for the year. And so that's where I'm tracking this. I then have on this page the Alice meeting the Cheshire Cat, again going with the red and black highlights for the playing cards. And then here, this is where I'm going to track my statistics for the year. Now, a lot of people track audiobooks, physical books, and ebooks. Mostly I read physical book, and I've never actually listen to an audiobook, so that's not really a way I consume literature. So what I'm tracking for the year is how many books I've read, how many poems I've read, because I've gotten out of the habit of reading poetry. I'm hoping to get back into that. And then short stories or graphic novels is also something I'm looking to explore this year. And then across all of the different things that I read, how many pages I've read for the year. Now I have signed up for a Goodreads account, which is really handy. You plug in what you've read and it just spits out how many pages it is. So that's fantastic. A link down in the description box below will be my Goodreads link. I think it's Bookend Broom. If you're wanting to check out my Goodreads and you follow me there, we can follow each other. I would love to follow you there as well. I don't know how the community works there. I don't know anything except I made an account and I've plugged in the books I've read so far. So that's my totality of experience with that app as of this point. But I hope to learn. I'm, all about learning, and that's what we're here for. So then the page after that is my monthly overview. And so this is where I'm going to track each month what my stats are. So I have my stats for the year with my reading challenge page, but then here's where I'm going to get that data from. So each month I'll have a chapter for that month of what I'm reading, and I'll keep track of my statistics for that month. And then from there, that'll get moved to this page so I can look at the whole year month by month on one page. And then this data at the end of the year will get translated to the page we just looked at. So I can at one time see these are my statistics for the year, turn the page, this is what the breakdown is per month. And then I can break down even further if I want to go to each month of exactly what books I read and what the rating were and how many pages were in each book. That'll be broken down month by month. And so again, I have the bold black top and then the space underneath for filling in that information. This next section is where I'm going to track my series to read, ones that I own or want to own, but just different series that I hope to read this year. It's going to be the title and the author, and then in the last category is going to be a square, sort of in pixels, sort of a square for each book in the series. So some of them will have a lot of books, some of them will be like a trilogy, and then so that's going to be the series column. And then as I read a book in the series, I'll fill it in, and whether it's by month or whatever, the individual books will be listed again in the monthly chapters. But here's where I'm going to track the series. So at one look, I can see, I've only read the first 3 of this series, I have 10 more to read. Or if I jump between series because I want to take a break, just being able to track exactly how many books are in the series, how many I've read, how many I've left to read. And then there's one that I'm reading now, which is The Hollows, and there are 17 books in the series as of right now. One just came out, so that's new. And so as new ones come out in that series, adding in the extra pixels for it. The odds that I'm going to need multiple pages for this is not high. So this is taking another opportunity to do another Alice in Wonderland collage. And here I'm putting in the little quote, "Oh, how I long to run away from normal days. I want to run wild in my imagination." And there are the little touches of some mushrooms, a Victorian woman, another little clock. That Victorian vibe seemed to fit. Then this is my TBR page. Now, when I first started doing this, I didn't fully understand what TBR meant. So I penciled it in, but then I gave myself the longhand of like books owned that I want to read TBR, to be read. So that's like penciled in there. We've got Alice talking to the caterpillar moment, and I sort of extended that drawing out to draw the smoke up the page, and then in the smoke, drawing in that "Who are you?" And the TBR, again, these are books that I already own, that I have in my possession, some of them that I've had for years because people give me books, and sometimes I tend to get into a habit of reading the same books over and over if I've really enjoyed a series. And so I've got a stack of books that I really need to read, and that's what I'm going to put down here is books that I have that I need to get to. Likewise, this is recommendations that people give me throughout the year. As I'm either watching a YouTube video or someone sends me a recommendation through somewhere else or a comment or something, or if a friend is like, "Oh, you should check out this book," just from wherever. This is my recommendations, and then on the adjacent page is my wish list. So as there are things that I want to read, like this year I really want to read Six of Crows, the Shadow and Bone series. I don't have them yet, so those are books that are going to go on that wish list. And then again, just a few little items here at the bottom that sort of speak to Alice in Wonderland to me. Essence of the story, having that little moment here at the bottom of the page. This is something that I printed off from Pinterest. This is Annual Reading Challenge hosted by novelnight.com. I want to make sure I give credit to anyone that I actually take stuff from. There's so much that I've consumed. I don't know who the originator of any of these spreads were or any of these layouts are. I've just watched, God, it's got to be at least 100 videos on years back of different bullet journals, of different reading journals, and then sifting through Pinterest. But this is actually something I printed off Pinterest from this person. And so it's not like it's just in the ether of stuff that's in my general knowledge now. This is specifically taken from novelnight.com. And I'm going to be cutting out these squares and making my own little bingo. As I'm reading, I want to try and diversify what I read because I tend to be very much in the fantasy genre, and I tend towards a lot of classic fantasy, like Tolkien, like Lewis, things like that. I tend to go even back to Jane Austen, where I go to fiction and fantasy. That's more of a classic genre as an English major, and I'm trying to read more modern fiction and read more things outside of what I would normally stick to. And so I figured this was going to be a really great way to do that by doing the bingo, because there's things on here like something that was written before this time or after this time, stories that have LGBTQA plus representation, which is a really important thing for me and my family, murder mysteries, just things like that. It's going to be an opportunity for me to branch out from what I would normally do. And I'm thinking I'm going to give myself like little awards for every time I get 7 in a row and get a bingo. Maybe get myself a new journal or treat myself to a fancy bookmark or some new paper or a new stamp or something. Just sort of getting 7 in a row, treating myself to something that continues me on this journey. And so having some diversity in what I read is going to make that a little more challenging and make sure that I don't just continue reading the same thing by the same people. That is the last spread I'm doing in this video. I have started working on my January section and filling that in. I think January is going to be pretty much all taken up with the hollows, but that is going to be in the next video. So here is a flip through of what I have so far. This is our cover page. We have our journal index where I'm going to fill in all of the pages. We have our bookshelf with all of the little accoutrements, and again 120 books, and then 2 pages to have space to write 120 books, and the numbers on this page correlate to the books on this page, and you'll see that in the next video where I've started filling these in. Then my favorite books of 2022 with all of the decks with all of the 10 cards for my top picks for the year. On my books read is where I'll do my rankings. Here my 1 through 10. My reading challenge for the year 1 to 60, and I've got room for 30 more to get to 90, and I've got room on the other page to get all the way up to 120. My monthly overview page, which is going to track books, poems, short stories, and pages read for each month. This page is going to be for all my series, my TBR, my recommendations, and my wish list. I'm really happy with how this whole journal turned out. I went into this having no idea what I was doing and just sort of took a lot of time sketching. And then here's the bingo, and here I've got the chess pieces, because it's like the game that's played in the second book is in Alice Through the Looking Glass. The chess pieces kind of play a role in that, and so I figured this is a game that's played with rules, Black Queen and the White King having their little argument. And then this last page is going to be for best quotes of the year. So as I'm reading, I will put quotes on my monthly pages. It'll go on that page. This has been a super long video, so thank you guys so much for sticking around right through to the end. If you want to see more videos from me, be sure to hit the subscribe button. If you've enjoyed this setup, video, please be sure to give this video a like and drop down in the comments below. Let me know, are you using a reading journal? What do you have as your spread pages and your layouts? How does it work for you? If you have a YouTube channel, please also drop down in the comments below and just be like, hey, I have one of these videos on my channel too. I am consuming everything reading journals right now. So drop it down in the comments below and I will be sure to head over to your channel and give it a like and a watch. I would love to see what you're doing, what you're using, what vibe you went with for your book. Thank you guys so much. And if you've made it to the end of the video, please drop a comment with a little book emoji or a playing card, a suit from the playing cards down in your comment below. Let me know that you saw it, that you've watched the whole thing. What is your favorite spread from this layout? Because I would love to know what page you like the most. What page do you find the most useful? Do you go to the most? This is my first year. I would love to hear from you veterans out there. Thank you guys so much, and I will see you in the next video. Bye guys!